All right, this one's going to be short. I kind of didn't prepare. This week, I have been working on the script and made some more progress on kind of doing a big structure. I tried an idea that I'm not going to show right now, but I tried an idea where I take the high-level story components, the sequences from the diagram I showed last week, and I put those into a drawing tool. I use draw.io, I believe it is, and make a little block for it, put the text in it, and then wire it up. I have the characters as well, and the first thing that the character does, or the first beat that the character's involved in or matters, I'll just draw a little arrow going to that. And I use that to kind of map out the high-level structure of an episode. And then I'll make it all one color, and then I can do the next episode in another color, and then any connections, like maybe I start some kind of a beat that connects to another one in the next episode, like I can draw those connections between the episodes all in one big chart. That's helping me. It feels good. I think that the other thing I've been doing, though, is realizing that there's just a lot more in my spreadsheet than needs to be, because I'm really wanting to focus on the emotional bones, the important story structure pieces. And so there's certain things like maybe some interaction that happens between the characters that's not like it's just part of the natural way they get from one beat to another, but it's not actually critical, and you could probably think of another natural way to get there. Those things I'm trying to pull out so that I'm really left with just the structure. I looked at it with my mentors, and one of the things they told me was, one, I need to work on my scene headings more. They really want to know what each character is doing, like what their goal is, and whether or not they accomplish it, what they learn, what the action is. So I need to work on that in the coming week. And also shucks, I forgot it. There's another really important one. Anyway, I'm going to skip that because I don't want to make this too long. The other thing we've been doing, though, is decided to look at actually putting together kind of a production schedule. We think that if we get a solid script for episode 1, a decent breakdown for episode 2, and then an outline for the entire first season, we're good to go with shooting a pilot. We also think that we should do a test scene. They introduced me to Whiplash, which I've not watched yet, but I watched the Whiplash scene, and a little painful to watch, but also very impressive and inspiring. So we're probably going to pick a scene and try to film it. In this case, I think the scene I'm interested in is there's a case where two of the characters have snuck through the woods to go warn their friends about this virus that they don't realize is really, really dangerous, and they have to throw beef jerky at the second-story window to try and get their attention without waking up the parents. And then there's this interaction talking about what's going on, what their plans are. I think it will be fun visually because it's at night. And so we've been exploring, like what lenses to use, and I've really wanted to do like just moonlight, but I've been told that that's not going to look as good as I think it will, if it turns out at all. And I believe them. So now I'm thinking about like these crazy expensive lights, the Joker they told me about. It's like the 1600 watt one's like $9-10 grand, just ridiculously expensive. So that's probably a rental. But my thought is maybe some baby steps before we shoot that scene. I'm going to take it out in the field, shoot some field shots, and experiment with low light. I'd also had this idea. They use a headlamp with a red light on it when they're doing the sneaking all the way up to the woods scene. And what if we just lit with practicals that headlamp and then a reflector at the camera? I don't know what that would look like. I think we'd end up with the same problem shooting with moonlight, where you don't have a lot of depth because pretty much everything else is black. Anyway, we're going to experiment, and that I'm excited about. As far as the production schedule, though, I'm learning enough to realize that my hope of shooting a pilot this year is really ambitious, and given that I don't really know what I'm doing, probably unrealistic. I've asked the producer guy that I'm talking to, I said, go ahead and build me a schedule, a production schedule. I want to understand where does the script need to be by when, if we're going to shoot a pilot this year, and what corners would we have to cut to make it happen. And then based on that, we can decide whether or not we want to kick it off a year. I'm worried about my talent growing up. I want to shoot my own kids. It sounds bad. Don't clip that out and publish it by itself. I want them to be the stars of the show, along with some friends of theirs. They're all cute, quirky kids that I think will be a lot of fun to watch. They don't have acting skills, or they have acting skills. What kids don't, but they have no formal training, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But I think it'd be really fun to shoot them, and they're growing up. So I'm a little bit like, dang, if we wait a year, I'm going to have 2 young adults instead of a young man and a child. But hey, that's life, and maybe I need to accept that. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say this week. I don't remember what that other point was I was trying to make, so it must not be important. That's okay. Oh, here's a fun one. I said, tell me, they brought up this idea of getting funding for making this show. And yes, I dream big, you know. There's always the Netflixes and Amazons that you wish would come find you. I don't really believe that is even remotely likely. But you never know, I guess, right? Anyway, I said, do I have a snowball chance in hell of getting funding? And they're like, yeah, I think you do. I don't know if they just wanted a job to continue a little longer or if that's for reals. But it always feels good to be affirmed. And it's true. I feel good about the story. I feel like it's coming together. But it's not there yet, and it could still fall apart. So we'll see. But it may be that we try to do some kind of crowdfunding or something. I don't know. If I can't fund it myself, we'll see. Anyway, that's it. Don't like or subscribe or anything like that. I hate it when people say that.